All right, draft show.
Draft show. Who's playing?
This
Who's
is
playing the
our
draft?
third. I think this is our third draft.
Who are we versing though? Who is it against? Because I don't know anything about the draft.
Yep. Draft
Oh,
show. Where the Celtics are hoping to find the next Aaron Nesmith.
I have to say this. I'm gonna try to stream it somewhere or like follow on Twitter. My idiot friend didn't pay his credit card, like didn't pay the YouTube TV monthly bill. So I just
And you
tried
got
to
shut off today?
Yeah, I had no idea. I just tried to turn it on. Everything's locked. It's like free trial this. Like I had to come. I was like, dude. He's like, oh, I got a new credit card. I forgot to like change it over. I was like, okay, well, can you go do that?
Yeah.
Now?
Let's do it. All right, so we're gonna set up and again, we'll let people kind of filter in here. It's a strange time for us to be doing a show, and I know some people are probably caught off guard. And it's not a lot of interest from the Celtics perspective, at least on draft night, because the presumption here is that they won't do much because why would they? They only have the 53rd pick, and that's it. Right?
That's the show.
Yeah.
That's the show.
So you're basically talking about guys who could be undrafted. Although, as I looked into this class, there is some potential for guys who look at themselves as first rounders or people who have first round pedigree to slip into that second round again. Each of these classes gets deeper and deeper.
Yeah. So we're going to Bobby has been cramming for this test for the last few days. Again, the draft being so close to the finals, obviously, Jimmy's extensive YouTube research suffered as a result here.
This was tough.
But Bobby's been going bananas here, doing his draft homework. So we are going to go and get some thoughts of the players they could take at 53. There's a series of rumors out there regarding the Celtics trying to jump into that first round. Some people are talking about getting up way into the first round in order to take certain players that would go in the teens. So I don't know how you do that. But then really the story around the Celtics is as much about what other things could happen around this team. We were talking about the TPE, which again, they still have, several weeks before that $17 million TPE expires. But draft night is a night where obviously deals get made. And this is a good time to wheel and deal because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of movement. And it wouldn't be stunning to see the Celtics do something tonight. So I think some people are kind of tuned into that. Then you start hearing big names like obviously you have the shakeups at the top, with the Kyrie Irvings and the Kevin Durant stuff. We'll get into that a little. Then you start hearing again, Atlanta's trying to get rid of John Collins. All of a sudden,
Dejounte Murray's available. Wow.
Dejounte Murray's name comes up, and everyone's like, "What? Go get him!"
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that at all.
So I don't believe a lot of it, and I think there's a lot of smoke there. But and the one report with the Celtics is it's all quiet. All quiet actually to me typifies oftentimes that something might be happening. The safest bet is you do nothing. You take your pick at 53. I think
you never see him. He never sees it later.
I think we got a good player here, but there's a lot at play here. We've heard Grant, Pritchard, Nesmith on the table. I wouldn't be stunned if some guys got traded just for second round picks in order to have some draft capital. I think the Celtics want to get cheaper. I think they're worried about paying money to guys they don't really plan on playing. So why not draft and develop guys who you might be able to turn into something, but who are going to be a bit cheaper down the road. So I think like a lot of people are, so we'll hit on all of that and we'll roll through the beginning of the draft. And while that's going on, we'll keep tabs on what's happening. Then we're probably going to take a break and we'll come back as soon as something happens regarding the Celtics. Should they trade into the first round, we'll be here. Otherwise, we'll jump back on after they make a pick at 53. So what do you guys think the story of the day regarding the Celtics is? Of all the things that you've heard there, what intrigues you the most? Jimmy, I'll start with you.
No, you can start with Bobby.
All right. What intrigues you the most, Bobby? Like
how can it be the Nets?
In a smoke, no, but I'm saying regarding the Celtics.
That was the easy one. Yeah.
If there's smoke, there's fire. Of all the things you've heard regarding the Celtics, what do you think is most likely to come to fruition?
I think there's interest in improving the bench if you can find guys in this draft who you think right away could be better than Peyton Pritchard, Aaron Nesmith, or at least push them day one. I don't view them as a team that's going to be interested in projects. Certainly, they'd be a team that would be interested in stashing another guy if that's the route that they want to go at 53. 'Cause that's usually that's
draft and stash. Does he say it? All right, everybody drink. Draft and
the
stash.
worst thing about draft. Here's the worst thing about draft and stash. For 3 years, you have to hear about how this guy is going to be really good when he gets here.
Pairing
Then you got to watch him for a
93.
year and realize he can't play at all. And then so it eats up 4 years of your time. I don't want.
Isn't that better than seeing a guy arrive day one though and saying, "Oh, geez, this guy stinks."
Draft and crash. Never get every guy they ever stash. They never unstash. He just disappears.
No, that usually is the way it goes. I was asking John earlier in the week when we were doing our shows together. I don't think draft and stash guy has ever panned out that I can think of. Maybe back in years past, but not that I can remember at a high level. Maybe some guys that came and played off the bench and did a little something, but you're not hoping for much there. But what are you hoping for at 53? I mean, this isn't the 40s where they were last year, where you could maybe dream a little bit of even getting up into the 30s. I think the prospect of trading up is going to be really difficult from where they're at, especially into the first round. The Lakers did get up to 35 earlier this afternoon with like pocket change and a piece of lint. So maybe you can get up to there.
You
but I
can
don't see
buy
the Celtics
second round
being able
picks
to-
all the time, but I don't know how you get into the first round. I don't understand how.
No, normally
Unless-
you trade a team like a late second to make it worth their while to move back, but no one's moving
Well,
back to 53.
I get not wanting
No.
to take a late first round pick because you don't want to live with the guaranteed contract, and you'd rather bring in two guys in the second round and roll the dice and see if they can do it. So if the Celtics are certain they want to draft a guy and put him on the team, and there's other teams that don't, I do see movement that way. But moving just from 53, I think, is difficult, which is where, again, I think something potentially like shipping Aaron Nesmith for a pick in the 40s could possibly get you 2 seconds for a late first if a team wanted to move out there. And that's why I think someone like that could be on the move. That's where my head's gone. Acquire another pick, ship that pick, and try to, and just giving up. Just giving up. You've already given up, and it's over. You know that he's broken. You know that it's not going to work here. You know you're not going to give him an opportunity next year. So you're just starting over. You're restarting the clock with someone else.
Do you think that's where they're at with him? Because I don't know if they're there yet. I mean, that would be really waving, throwing in the towel on the guy.
Yeah.
I think he's got to be worth more than what he is now before they trade him. I mean, you'd be selling.
He's running out of time anyway.
Well, it's like, how sometimes
I know he's running out of time, but they have to make the decision and all that stuff. But
Jimmy, how like you just know, like when you're in love, I think when you're out of it too. Like I think they're looking at Nesmith and they're like, it didn't work.
They might not have ever
haven't seen enough signs.
This was like an arranged marriage that was just doomed from the start,
I think they have made up their minds what they
shooter.
think this guy is, and I think they think he can't play. Probably.
Well,
the frustrating thing is he's gotten better in all the other areas that he was weak in at first, and he's completely lost a shot that you.
But he can't do the one thing he was hired to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
which is
what
tough.
He get better at, like running headfirst into people and like objects.
No, I thought his defense in that Heat series when he made a little spot appearance there was pretty good. He was switching, he was blocking shots. I think he's gotten more disciplined on that end, as opposed to just flying around everywhere and falling on the ground. I think if you actually saw him play a full game, I think you'd be impressed with his defense if he got that opportunity right now. But when is he going to get that opportunity? This guy isn't going to get better if he can't get on the floor. And if he can't get on the floor, you might as well move on.
Okay, so let's say they do make a trade. You're saying they can get what now? 2 seconds?
Nothing. We're saying I theorized.
You're trying to inch your way up into the first round, is what you're saying.
I theorized maybe if they
to
acquired another second round pick, they might ship both of those to a team that wants wants out of the first round, like a Golden State, because they're like, now we're all set with what we've got here. I got 2 rookies on my team. I didn't even play heading into next year. We're all set with like this type of thing. I don't want to bring in another. Maybe.
Sure. I think there would be teams that would be interested in the potential if they like them going into that draft. It's only been a couple of years here. It's still a cost control guy, $6 million in the last year of his contract. You might not like that if you're Boston. You might want to go with someone second round pedigree who's cheaper at that spot if you don't think he's going to play. So I wouldn't be stunned if they went and made that move tonight. wouldn't be stunned if they kept him and said, let's just see how it rolls for one more year. But you do have to make a decision on the 4th year before he plays again, which is tough.
Right. In terms of stunning moves, I just don't know, what could happen here, but you can see, like I said, is the reason you might have to get in on the action today is if people are trying to move stuff and get off of things and start to do it, and one of your targets is there, you have to be ready to pounce. So if you have a TPE target and they're kind of in play on draft night, you got to kind of get involved here. So I do think if you're going to,
so that's the path to get into the first,
and that's another one too, where you might trade somebody to acquire some picks and use those picks plus a TPE also to get your player that you want tonight. That could be something that you do by acquiring those picks, and somebody wants to use those picks. But what are you saying? How do you get into the first with your TPE? If somebody is selling a bad contract,
it's the Robinson thing we've talked about. The Heat have the 27th overall pick. They've signaled that they're making it available. I don't think they're necessarily thrilled about using it for tax reasons and other things. There's also tax reasons that the Warriors might not use there. Celtics have been connected to them as well. But we've kicked around this Robinson possibility that you use your TP to eat his money, hope he turns it around, becomes that shooter that you need. And all you basically do is pay a bunch of tax to keep that $17 million on the books. Maybe it becomes flexibility into the future. Maybe it helps you, but you also get a first-round pick to make it worth your while at that spot. I don't think it's the worst move in the world, especially if you think there's a guy at 27 that you really love. So if Robinson pans out and your first-round pick pans out, all of a sudden you're looking at a completely different bench next year. It's risky. We talked about it, Jimmy. Adding Robinson brings you up to a $90 million tax bill next year if you don't send anything else.
Pay it, Wick.
That's like 4 times what the Celtics have ever paid, maybe 5 times in tax. So it's unlikely, but I think it's
inflation. Taxes are going up everywhere.
Yeah,
right? Price of gas is going up, and so is the price of doing business. So if
it's about whether you like Robinson or not.
He's gonna have to fork it over. I mean,
fork it over, pal.
Yeah, I mean,
if you really hate Robinson,
it's a big ask for a guy that you're not sold on him. You know, like it's easy to spend that type of money when it's a star player coming in. You know what you're getting.
Well, he saved a lot of money not going into the tax ever before, so let's do that.
And he made money. The Celtics, they every single playoff game Wick could have had, he got. I mean, they made a ton of money.
7, and 6. You went as far, nearly as far as you could go.
He's rolling in the dough right now. Don't let him fool you. That's tax money. That's the tax money right there.
The Bruins took all his beer money. Everyone in the concessions, it all went to the Bruins.
That's fine. That's always been the case. They didn't take it. It's just not his. But again, we're talking about an extra 4 games, 3 games, plus the 2 against Brooklyn. That's as many home gates as you're going to get, 4, 3, and 3 rather. Yeah.
He went almost 7 games into the finals.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You maxed out at home games.
He maxed out his home games. Yeah, exactly.
So they got a lot of gates there. And again, that's why we got the lobster dinner, that night.
Yeah. I heard about that. I heard that's unbelievable.
Lobster Kid. Red Sox started that tradition a few years back, and everyone
had the bid. I heard Bobby had the bid. He was cracking claws. He actually.
I was excited when I saw it, but they were a little cold, and I was gonna be like splashing water on people's computers.
I think it's a ridiculous thing to serve people.
Yeah.
So stupid.
I saw it on it right away.
Lobster rolls, fine. Lobster.
Oh, that would have been great.
Like a bunch of old media guys trying to, get the, crack the claws.
Dude, I would have had a lobster water shooting in Zach Lowe's face.
Yeah.
I would have been like, "Oh, sorry, Zach."
So anyway, yes. That's a possibility. You start to take on some bills here. Here's the thing though. No matter if forget worrying about what Duncan Robinson would cost you. And there's pros and cons to bringing him in. And some people think he's washed and not worth it. And so we're not debating that. Using the full TPE on someone puts you deep into the tax.
Right?
And Wick has said he's going to do it. So if you're going to do it, getting somebody to sell it to you and buy back a pick after you've had to sell so many of your picks isn't the worst thing in the world, particularly if you like somebody there. That's a 2-for-1. I think that's something different, and you should consider it. You're partly paying for a draft pick and a player that you covet. So if there's somebody kind of lingering in a spot and you're like, I like this, that gives you even more impetus to do something if you were on the fence with it before. So I would,
but there isn't. There isn't. So I'm not jumping through hoops to get into the first round here. I've looked at all the guys that could potentially be there.
You're not.
There isn't anything that blows your mind that you have to really aggressively get up there for. If you want to move into the 40s because you think a guy could slip there, or even the 30s, top of the second round there, I think that'd be a smart thing to do because this could potentially be like a 30 to 50 impactful guy draft in terms of the range of where guys could go. But I don't think there's anything that's going to change your fortunes all that much by getting up to 27, 28, or even 30 if you want to do something with the Nuggets there. So I'd stay out of the first round. You know how I felt about this year's first round anyway. I was thrilled to get out of it. They finally used their pick on a player to get Derek White there. So I'm not rushing to get back into it. You can wait a year.
Bobby, are you purposely? You did that on purpose, didn't you? You're trying to poke John.
So we want to talk about some guys?
No, not yet.
All right.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. What we want to talk about is, let's talk about some of the reports first. And again, we'll get into players a little later.
Durant.
Huh?
Durant's coming to Boston.
What would you give up for Kevin Durant?
Everything. Are you kidding me? There isn't a limit I would go get him. That's like your Kevin Garnett edition, even bigger than Kevin Garnett. This is the best player in the.
Those two guys. Do not put those two names in the same.
No, Durant's an even bigger edition
Kevin
than
Durant
Garnett.
will never be Kevin Garnett in terms of his.
He's the second best player in the league.
What he
By the way,
to the game. Yeah, he doesn't have the tenacity.
So is there a limit?
Kevin Durant
put a limit
at this point
pursuit?
in his career is a bigger deal than Kevin Garnett was back then.
I know, but just
definitely.
We're just different guys.
I say this as a KG
Durant's the top of the
KG was everything. Blah blah blah. Changed the color. He's literally everything. He did everything.
That's what I meant.
He was right. So yeah, you're not getting a culture changer, but in terms of a guy near the top of his game, Kevin Durant's a top 3 player,
right?
With a bullet. It's not even. It's unreal.
So how are you gonna do it, Bobby? I mean, you're not gonna give up Tatum. So what do you mean by everything? What's your trade?
Everything else is available. Brown, Smart, Rob, all the future picks. I wouldn't put everything in there together because I don't think Durant, Tatum, White, and Horford would be enough to go all the way. I still think you need a little bit of your depth there, but you would consolidate quite a bit, I think, to get Durant.
So Jalen's gone, a couple of picks are gone, maybe Rob's gone.
Ideally, yeah, you'd like to do Jalen for Durant straight up, or just with one other player to make the money work there. You'd like to keep Horford. You always get stuck at Rob, right? Because Rob's like that game breaker. He's the guy that takes you to the next level. He's like the cherry on top that's going to make it all work. But he's also your most valuable trade asset outside of the Jays. So
here's a question for John.
I think everyone would ask for him.
Would you trade Tatum for Durant?
It's a different story.
Here we go. Here's the cop-out answer.
I mean, honestly, it's just the age thing. In terms of players, I just don't think it's close. I don't think Tatum ever gets to Durant's level. So I don't think you're trading young Durant for old Durant. I think you're trading, you're clearly leveling up for a player. I just don't know with Durant and his age how big that level is and how long it will be higher than what Tatum is now and could become. So I think you're looking at close to the same guy in a year or two. I just don't think it's worth it. For as much as I love him, Durant, and realistically, I don't know. I don't know how much longer it lasts.
Here's the question.
You hate to grab somebody that far. I mean, what is he now? 33, 32?
You was drafted in 07, right?
This might as well be a dinosaur.
So you're talking 14 plus 19.
He's 33 now, turns 34 in September. I just think you're really pushing it there. Age-wise, I just don't know that you're getting more than 1 or 2 prime years,
coming up
this level years. And I think that cliff comes fast for some of these guys. Durant is less like that guy because he doesn't rely on his athleticism as much as some others to get what he gets. So I think he might hang in a little bit longer. He's just going to be long all day and be able to shoot over people all day. That stroke's not going anywhere, but I don't know. It's a tough one. Age-wise, it's tough. Then the question becomes, are you doing Jalen? And again, you have to consider the only reason Jalen changes because Jalen's different is you don't know his mind, right? As much.
He's
Right, you don't have the deal signed
shorter
yet.
window.
Like KD comes here and Tatum's going to be like, this is awesome. I'm in the club with one of my boys and this guy says good things about me. You just do get a little bit of the feeling that JB, is not locked in to returning. And I think you have to use your gut there. That's the problem. I don't know what the Celtics think on that. I really don't know. I don't know if they're
that's the key. If you think he's interested in playing elsewhere, then you would obviously jump at the possibility of getting Kevin Durant in return, and I don't know one way or the other what Jaylen Brown's thinking. I don't think anyone really does.
I think if you thought,
John, there's not a lot. There's just hasn't been a lot of examples of, like you said, Brown or Tatum, really being like, I love it here and I want to play my entire career here.
They were closer to that though this year.
It's a luxury. It's a sports car when you're living in friggin', Minnesota. You just don't need it. It's just,
What,
you're
Durant?
never gonna like a Durant. You're gonna drive it. It's just it's such a luxury item. It seems silly. You have it for a year or so, and you're like, what did I get this thing for? I just don't. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
As much as you want it,
I screwed up.
Yeah, why did I do this? I just think it was
If you're
Durant.
trading the whole-
never gonna work. This was never gonna work.
If you're trading the whole team for him, it is tricky. It's almost like the Beal scenario we talked about, and you'd much rather be willing to sell all your debt for Durant than Beal. But
and that's the thing.
Durant has questions too.
This is the cycle Celtics fans go on. You see all this cool stuff, and you're like, "Ooh, I want that. What's it gonna take?" And the answer is a J. So, and then you're like, well, screw that. Can't it be these guys? And the answer is,
oh my God. People in my mention saying Tice, White, Pritchard.
The answer is no. The answer is, would you do that? Would you trade Durant for anything on the Celtics? The Celtics could give you every single asset they have, including draft picks into the next 10 years and the rights to everyone's firstborn children. And it's still not even close to enough to get a player like Durant. And forget Durant or Murray or anybody. Why do you think some other team wants to take on all your trash that you're overpaying for?
It's the opposite, though. It's does Durant want to come here? Because he's going to dictate where he's going, and then the Nets just have
He'll
to
give you 6, 7, 8 destinations. There's not a guy out there who's going to be like Boston or nothing and force it like AD did, with the Lakers. With the Lakers. You just don't have that. The leverage exists to a point, but even in Kyrie's case, he's giving you 6 destinations. I think Durant would be in the same ballpark.
Celtics make a ton of sense for Durant, though, because he can sort of go back and forth with Tatum, take a bit of a back seat when he needs to, and let Tatum cook. He can help Tatum grow. That's a real dynamic I would love. There's an edginess to Durant, too, that I think would really benefit this team at the top and benefit Tatum, too, who doesn't want to take on that villainous role. It would almost befit the Celtics a little bit to become a little bit villainous with Durant at the top. I'd love that. Always loved this game. Listen, go back to 2016. We were all sitting on our couches or our lawn chairs or hammocks waiting for Durant to make his decision to come to Boston.
I was in the office on a holiday.
Which would have changed everything. So
we all got called in from our vacations for that. That was great.
I was in high school.
The offices were closed. We opened just for that at NBC.
To watch Kelly Olynyk blow it for us.
To watch Kelly Olynyk, I'm like, the second I saw the video of Olynyk, I was like, that's it.
All right, everybody, head out. Lock it up. We're out of here.
Brady, the fact that he chose the Warriors still. Now you look back on all the disdain he got and all the topic of him selling out to go there, and you roll your eyes because we've heard it over and over and over. When he did that, when you heard Durant's going to the Golden State Warriors, it was like, what? You couldn't imagine what the possibility of that would have been, and it did break the league for 2 years. They were unstoppable.
Yeah.
Well, so that's kind of why I think he wouldn't pick Boston. I mean, if you think about the places he's chosen to play, Boston doesn't really match up. I mean, he's already been on record, basically hates the media, hates, pretty much hates a lot of fans. It seems like he goes at it with fans all the time. So I don't know if that's.
Guarantee he calls out the Garden Report if he comes here.
Totally. I just don't know if he
All right,
wants
do
that
it.
vibe. I think he wants something like he went to Brooklyn
He'll make us
over-
famous, Jimmy. It's worth it.
over Madison Square.
He'll
Well,
come on our Garden Report Twitter thread for sure.
He knows one Garden Report member already, or he knows
Yeah.
of one.
He loves Nick.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like again, like he chose Brooklyn because didn't he say like I just want to like wake up and like go ball and like go home? Like it's like Boston doesn't really work that way. I don't
All right,
know.
so
if-
what's
I don't know if
going
that's-
on there? I mean, this is what we actually have to talk about. I understood pressing Kyrie, and I still wouldn't give Kyrie the max. But if you get to a point where Durant says, I'm leaving if you don't sign Kyrie, don't you have to sign Kyrie?
Honestly,
I mean, what are they
you
going to
already
do?
have to sign Kyrie.
Yeah, they're screwed because Durant tied himself to this guy, which is a mistake in itself. But this is what you signed up for if you're Brooklyn. You should have known it was going to go in this direction with Kyrie, and you have no outs. Your out was trading him when he did the vaccine thing, which they still should have done. They lost Harden because of that, but it's too late now. This is all you have, unless you can trade Kyrie for Harden. You see 76ers were on Kyrie's list. What was up with that?
Yeah, Harden must be like,
This NBA is such a freaking. Crazy
it is funny.
This
So,
was
all right,
so
listen,
goofy.
this is La La Land here with Durant. So
I
it's
can't believe this
yeah.
is real.
but it's stupid to tie it to Boston in any realistic way. And we know the most realistic
what we
thing that
do.
Boston would do to, it would be kind of like, around the edges here and try to find, somebody else. So what about what's Murray worth to you? And again, there's a report out there that, both of these guys, there was a report yesterday, Spurs and Hawks discussing a trade centered around Murray and John Collins.
Collins' name is always out there, I feel like.
So, why does everyone hate all of these guys?
I don't know.
They don't hate Murray.
I love Murray. I mean, I don't know what it would take to get Murray. Would it take Jaylen Brown? I mean, is Jaylen Brown that much better than Murray? I mean, Murray might be a better. I mean, they need a point guard. I know a lot of people are going to trash me for that.
They will, but these were my trades or last year. When I
Murray's
mentioned
nasty.
You
A lot
were
of
ahead of the
Halliburton.
curve on Murray.
I mentioned Murray. I mentioned getting guys on their ascent. I mentioned doing basically the Halliburton deal for Murray, where you're going to give a ready-made star, get Murray, and maybe get some assets as well, another young player and a draft pick,
right.
and kind of reset your clock on somebody. Get a little, get positional versatility. I am all for theoretically positional versatility, and if you were to split up the Jays, I would like to see it done to address so you didn't have two wings who had a little bit of redundancy there and kind of cancel each other out at times. Doesn't mean you wouldn't replace them with somebody else who would be good there, but I wouldn't mind seeing like an elite point guard with Tatum instead of an elite wing with Tatum like Brown is. But Murray, again, I don't know how you get this without trading a J, and I don't think anybody wants to do that.
I don't even know what to say about this one. I mean, if you ask me, would you give up Jaylen for Murray? Given what just happened and given the windows and given where Murray looks like he's going, yeah, but I don't think the Spurs say yes to that. I think they want all your picks. I think they probably want Smart too. I think they probably want Rob. Like the package would be ridiculous. Right. There's no 1-for-1 here anymore. And this is the debate we kind of got into last year when we were actually talking about possibly trading Brown. Like there's a million different guys 1-for-1 you'd love to trade him for, but that's just not realistic because everyone loves their guy and everyone wants the world for their guy. That's probably why the Hawks are stuck with Collins. They're probably asking for something ridiculous for him. I don't know why these two are connected here. If the Spurs traded Murray for a package centered around Collins, that would be kind of absurd. I get why the Hawks want him.
The Spurs have a lot of guards, and
but the Hawks have a guard too. If you recall, so it's like I just don't get it. But like Murray's nasty. I mean, a lot of people are sleeping on this guy still. He came, the Spurs came out of nowhere this year. Everyone thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league. They weren't. I don't know why the Spurs would trade Murray if they're trying to rebuild and they're trying to build on the season that they had. I mean, guards are extremely important. I mean, we saw that with the Celtics this year. I mean, it's just what there were points where they really
Marcus Smart cannot be improved upon, Jimmy.
That's true.
I don't think he can.
That. Nobody can.
Either way, the smoke screen was successful. It looks like the Magic are starting to lean toward Paulo Banchero as they get set to go on the clock here after Smith. Yeah, Woj saying that there's been a shift at the top of the draft last minute here. Magic handled number 1 pretty good, huh? I don't
What do
know
you
if
mean?
it's the right pick, but they kept everybody on their toes about who they were going to be picking. It was like 5 different options. We're going to be going there throughout the whole process.
It's funny how Vegas knew.
No,
Yeah.
Vegas had Smith.
No, Vegas switched the odds, and last night, before people went to bed, Banchero was the favorite to go 1, and then Woj wakes up today, and he sticks with his Smith, Holmgren, Banchero,
Yeah, the order. Yeah.
tweet, and then Vegas just took it off the books. But something shifted. They got word yesterday that it was going to be Banchero, and he became the betting favorite. And then they took like a lot of books took it off the board.
How does Vegas do that? I still don't get it. They're better reporters than any of us.
Yeah, they got
What they do.
they got it.
Numbers game, Bob.
Yeah. Well, looks like Paolo Banchero is going to go number 1 to Orlando. Are you scared of the Magic anytime soon?
No,
A Dookie.
I don't like.
I'll tell you this, Detroit.
I don't know these dudes, man.
Detroit not getting up to the top this year was tough for them because it looked like they were ready to make a leap. They traded Jeremy Grant yesterday, which I think sort of leaves a hole in their growth here for the next year or so if they don't fill that gap. So Detroit, that team that gave the Celtics a lot of trouble last year, every time they played them, that leap I thought they could potentially make this year. It doesn't look certain now, picking 5 in this draft and getting rid of Grant. Unless Ayton comes in, that would be kind of a big shakeup in the East, seeing Ayton come out East.
For what it's worth, and again, the just real quick,
Magic
we'll
are on
update.
the clock.
Yeah, it's already kind of been tipped there. But while we wait for the official announcement here, one of the other things, Shams was on a pre-draft show just a short while ago, and one of the things he was discussing was his Kyrie report, and now it's kind of progressed to he's actively now seeking trade partners. So he's going to opt in and request a trade. But it sounds like it's moved from possible to happening. So the wheels are now in motion here.
If you're the other team in the trade, how can you take that risk? Like, Kyrie could literally just quit tomorrow. He could demand a trade and be like, you know what? I actually don't want to play basketball anymore. See ya. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a risk for another team. Everywhere this guy's gone, it's ended poorly. Very poorly. Why would it be any different for the next team?
Teams keep doing
this. There it
is.
Banchero number 1.
You're convincing yourself that all
right.
That
the pick is in.
Yeah. We got it ready. Boom. Select Paolo Banchero. Anyway,
look at that automatic.
Wow.
Who knew? Vegas and Amit. That's who knew.
Love it.
Our
so
super
you're talking
producer.
Kyrie. There's one team that
super
needs
producer,
Kyrie.
Amit.
There's one team that needs Kyrie.
Dallas, Miami, New York.
No, the Lakers. They're in such a screwed up situation right now. How much more can you hurt it by throwing another talented player in the mix where Russ didn't work this year? Giving up your whole future because LeBron's probably going to leave next year anyway. And just
I love Banchero's smile. He's like, I friggin' knew I was going number 1. You know, he's like wink. He's like, I've known all along, you sucker.
He is one talented guy. So I know you guys didn't catch like a ton of college this year, but you probably caught March Madness.
I watched no. I watched the game with earlier in the year with him and Holmgren when they played Gonzaga earlier in that year. I think he left that game a little early, but he had like a 20-point first half. He was great. I watched a bunch of Duke games this year.
Yeah, they were stacked.
So I saw him play. I saw him play quite a bit. I watched both these guys because it was funny. Just I had that interest in both of them just because we interviewed them, or Goodman did a couple of years ago on his podcast, and I sat in and watched. Yeah, I sat in and watched it, and I was like, oh, these are good kids, So I just I just had my eye obviously when they first got in here just to see what all the fuss was about. Yeah, I mean, he's got like that NBA ready-made game, but I also could see him just being like Michael Beasley, like not great. Like it'll be okay, but not phenomenal. I don't know that he's a star.
He doesn't get phenomenal.
No, not for me.
Man.
He's strong. He's NBA ready. He's got everything. But I just don't see it. I don't see superstar.
Shots,
wow,
if he hits
devastating
shots,
blow to his career.
John shuts down his career. Nice kid, but not phenomenal.
Woj is tipping picks in his very Woj way, and it's going to be Holmgren too. So again, not surprising.
That's a bummer. I like a lot. The same way you like Paolo a lot. I love Chet. Just this mold. We're gonna talk about his suit size here.
Hey, they just did a Michael Beasley. They just did a Michael Beasley comp here. That's exactly who I see in Banchero.
That was Perk's comparison. Michael Beasley and Ben.
That's
Simmons.
who I see. That's exactly who I see. I see kind of like a Beasley.
How about Ben Simmons? I don't see Ben Simmons, but Beasley I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess
that's
I
who I
see
there.
It, the way he faces up.
And Jabari Smith to me is friggin' gonna be, Harrison Barnes. Like I just don't think there's a star here.
No, but if you get a great role player on the right team,
it's really good.
Impactful.
I just when you get that,
he would have been great. Detroit.
You want that generational guy, not a guy that you might have gotten at 7, 8, 9 in another year.
He would have been awesome on Detroit. Detroit falling out of this lottery and Sacramento getting into it. Talk about death for prospects. Not great for everybody involved here, but Banchero, if he shoots, he's going to be brilliant. If he doesn't, it's going to be a little more Julius Randle-esque, I think, with that body type and his approach to the game and how much he dominates the ball. I don't see him being great off the ball.
Randle seems quicker than Banchero, but anyway, we'll see.
He was more of a banging type coming into the league. I think he thinned out and
he's got a little bit more twitch. And we'll see how this goes. As far as Celtic stuff goes, again, I don't expect much movement here until anything happens. But what do you think about the idea of them potentially moving on from either Williams, Pritchard, or Neesmith? To me, this is entirely money motivated, right? Like you don't want to pay Grant in a couple of years, so you're just going to reload, try to get somebody with 80% of the production at 20% the cost. And
that would be ridiculous.
But I mean, what kind of thing would you move him for? Are you moving him to get into the draft? Is a
nothing
team
tonight?
Would the team want Grant Williams in place of their first round draft pick?
Definitely. 42% 3-point shooting. Everyone's going to sign up for that.
So if they're interested in that, then you have to wonder whether the Celtics are looking to do it because they do want to get. They don't want to pay what they're going to have to pay Grant to keep. They know they're not going to offer Grant the extension that he probably asked for in the 8 to 10 to $12 million range, depending again. So if they know they're not going to do that, this might be a cut bait scenario. Which again, it's a one step backwards, one step forward. You'd be a little worse for losing Grant, but you might pick up extra.
They just made the finals. How are you going to do something like that to save $3 million right now?
People do this in business all the time. It's not just that. It's getting an asset, knowing that you're just going to let them walk probably in a year.
All right, so I mean, there's a difference here. 30, no. 17, all right. I'm listening.
Okay.
There's a big difference there for sure. I mean,
Jimmy, what about you?
If you can get up close to the lottery, much different story. You think about moving Grant.
Yeah,
I would. What about me? I would trade these guys for sure. I mean, the concern. Are you laughing at this comment? Oh,
no, I love it. You're like, wait, are you kidding? I would trade all these guys.
Well, John, I mean, we've talked about it. These guys are forever like bench guys, right? Yeah. So, I mean, if you have the ability to trade one in and maybe you get lucky with the pick, why wouldn't you? I mean, they might not feel Grant is as valuable as they did before that Warrior series. And maybe a lot of other teams don't either after that. But, I mean, he's had a bit of a seesaw season. Now, listen, he had a great season. And we already went on apology cam and said everything we could say about Grant. He turned his career around. I mean, we didn't even think he'd be in the league this year, never mind contributing in the way he did. And the guy was almost he's basically an MVP of Game 7 against the Bucks. I mean, it's unbelievable. But that being said, he kind of is who he is. You know what you got in Grant. And I think it's just a matter of time before teams kind of figure him out. And maybe the Warriors did that. And
That's your
certainly
worry.
Draymond
He takes a
had
step
his
back,
way.
and you don't
Right.
capitalize on his value right now.
So, I mean, can Grant help a team? Can Grant help like a winning team? Yeah, I think we've seen that he can. I think there's teams that would have interest there as a rotational guy. And if you're the Celtics and you're looking for something more than that, then yeah, you get rid of him. Peyton Pritchard, man, that guy could not have had a worse NBA Finals. I think if he got traded tonight, no, I don't know anyone who would bat an eye. Maybe Bobby would, but other than that, I mean, he literally, I think he missed every single shot he took, or it certainly looked that way when he went into the games.
Hey, look,
he
we
did
got a
not
tip.
have the year
We got
you
a
were
tip.
looking for.
We got a tip from Nick.
Oh wow!
Hey.
Look at that.
The content is free, guys, but feel free to tip.
Nick's back. I see him firing away on Twitter. He does not.
Oh, he's
like
ready
this
to go.
Durant
He's ready to
idea.
go.
Yeah.
No, it's just probably he just got reception. He just reached the port, wherever his cruise is taking him. And he's got reception again, so he's catching up on everything. I like this. I like this.
Chet.
I like this. Retweet this.
Oh no,
Vacation Nick.
let's keep
Bermuda Nick is back.
Bermuda Nick.
let's keep talking these Celtics guys.
Well, all right, yeah, go.
The tough thing
look at
about
these
Grant
names.
is how
What are you going to get for these guys? What are we even talking about here?
no, you're not getting anything for Pritchard and Neesmith. Grant's the guy who might have first round value right now. 3-and-D, size, gives you a bunch of versatility on your team if you're trying to win, especially if you're the Heat or the Warriors. I mean, imagine him on the Warriors. He'd be a dream for them right now at good value.
Oh no, they can't
given
be
that
too
they're
high
gonna
on
lose.
what they saw.
Given what they lost there, that would be something if they pulled off that deal. But right now, as your team's constituted, you need Grant. He's your only spacer. He's your only guy to spell Horford. He's your Horford replacement per se. I know Jimmy's not going to like that label on him, but he's all you got after Horford right now. So unless you really feel good about who's coming into that spot, you could be waiting 2-3 years to develop the next guy at that spot. And that actually is one of the things I focused on when I was scouting the Celtics picks this year, or just their pick for now. Can you get a guy who can fill not the big man mold? Because I don't think you want like a 7-foot dunking guy at that spot, but you want someone who can sort of grow and evolve into more of a Horford type big. You're not going to get Horford. I mean, he was the best pick in his draft, maybe arguably, but someone who can switch a little bit, play the 4 and the 5, maybe give you a little shooting down the line, a little bit of playmaking. Grant's giving you all that right now, and there's a reason you'd get good value for him because he was amazing this year. And then when he wasn't, you saw what the Celtics looked like. So he's really the swing factor on the Celtics right now. Wouldn't trade him lightly.
Bobby, what?
Enough. That's too much.
He won it. He won a game 7 for them.
Because they let him
Against the
take 100
champions.
3-pointers. They literally said, "We will let you take all these shots." That was
Shot
it.
40%
As soon as the
on
team
18
paid any attention to him, all,
Yeah.
he disappeared. He
I'm
literally
so-
disappeared.
I'm so barely
can we stop
invested
with that?
in this night's activities and events. I don't want to get angry right now, Bobby. Don't get me
He's their
worked up.
swing
It's been a long
player.
season, man.
Don't get me worked up.
Don't tell me that Grant is the deciding factor in the
He's the
Celtics
glue.
playoff hope.
He's the glue guy.
Everything changed. Everything changed for
Man,
Tatum.
Jabari does not look happy, by the way.
Falling, sliding.
Yeah, he looks pissed.
Maybe that's just his.
Rockets should be pissed too. I think they felt like, oh, we have a trade.
What do we got?
Oh, never mind. Fake Woj.
Jeez,
God damn it, Bobby.
You can't do
You're
that.
lucky
We're
I
live.
didn't say that one. I didn't say it.
live,
I
dude.
kept it to myself.
Okay, tell us what you thought it was then. This is a fake trade, but tell us. Now I'm interested.
Nah, it's nonsense. I just saw a trade and I didn't even read what the stuff was, but I was like, oh, it's trade. Rockets. They really wanted Paolo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Is the pick in?
I don't know. You tell us.
I'm looking.
It is in.
Done.
It's Jabari. No, sorry, the pick's in. It's Jabari.
I'm on a massive delay. So
That's not a
Okay.
great.
There's a fake Woj account tweeting Kyrie stuff. Is that what you saw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
What was it? It's fun. Let's get the
Oh.
fake report.
what was it, dude? You got. What was it?
I gotta find it now. It was
Because
something
I want
like
you to update the scoreboard, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's true.
It-
It was
no, John actually let his out when he got fooled.
I texted you, and then 3 seconds later was like, no, it's fake. I mean,
Yeah. And it wasn't a trade either. It
before
was a
you guys
trade
even had a
demand.
chance to read it, I was like, no, it's fake.
Yeah, but it still counts. Sorry.
Fine. If I'm going on the board, so is Bobby.
No,
He
Bobby's
did
going
it
on the
during a
board.
live broadcast.
Read
He goes,
the trade, Bobby.
was
What
it not
the
much
trade?
worse when Bobby goes, oh, we've got a trade on a live show?
And everyone listening like perks up.
Alex
Barth,
Barth.
bated breath.
Alex Barth, the CLNS zone, just retweeted it. What are we doing here? At
Did
the
he?
network? We're falling apart.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Barth is on the scoreboard too. What's the trade? I need to hear it right now.
All right, Kyrie for Kemba, Burks, Fournier, the 11th.
I want to catch it before he undoes it.
First. Yeah.
Kyrie for Kemba. For Kemba, Burks.
I think Barth
Fournier.
actually reacted to it too. Yeah, Barth goes, good luck with
Hey, Barth, stick to the Pats, man. Stick to the Pats. Great Pats.
It's that
report.
season,
I'll give
everybody. Be
Barth
careful. The guy had a check mark too. Whoever did it.
No,
That's
Barth's
what
a
really
great guy.
fooled me.
Barth's a great guy.
The guy who
Ooh.
made the fake Woj had a
Pretty
check mark.
sneaky, sis. I like that.
Fake. There's a fake account with a check mark.
Yeah.
Jabari
should be revoked.
is the least smilingest number 3 pick I've ever seen.
What's
Wait,
wrong
Oh
with
my
you?
god.
Talk about not being able to put your shoes into, or yourself into someone's shoes. How are you mad about sliding from 1 to 3?
I mean, it's probably $3 million. $5 million. It's not great.
But you're living in Houston rather than Orlando.
I don't know. Is that good or bad?
Yeah.
I'd rather be in Houston.
He's more from that area
Really?
of the country.
I don't.
Oh,
I don't
you're
know
right.
if
He is a Florida guy,
I
right?
don't know if you're in the majority with that take, Bobby. I don't know if most people would rather be in Houston than.
Then Orlando? What's so great? I mean, I like Orlando. I used to go there.
No,
a
I mean
lot
he's
when I was
from
younger,
the south. I mean he's from the southeast. He's from Atlanta.
I mean, Orlando, you
True.
can
Yeah.
kind of go. You're not. You can actually leave Atlanta. You can leave Orlando. You don't have to like stay there forever. You can go to other
That's
parts.
true.
Of Florida.
You can go right up to Orlando. It's probably a less than an hour
Oh.
flight.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
not Atlanta, but he's born in Georgia, Fayetteville. Anyway, that's where we're at. So
This is
Jabari goes
is
3.
where the draft gets tricky. Yeah, I don't think any. Well, there are people, but Jaden Ivey has a much stronger chance of becoming a star than Smith, in my mind, and John's, based on what John said about him so far here. Smith's a great player. He's a great complementary piece, but everyone who's scouting this draft has a lot of concern about his ability to be the guy. And maybe he doesn't need to be on the Rockets. I mean, they have Jalen Green, who I don't love either, as well as some other pieces there, like Şengün, who I'm obviously not super crazy about. So does he drastically change the Rockets' fortunes? Not really. And I know you just want to pile up talent and such, but there's nothing wrong with having 2 great guards. And you know what? The Kings are on the clock right now. They have De'Aaron Fox. They're probably going to take Jaden Ivey now and just figure it out. So, hallelujah.
Yeah,
the
that's what
Kings
the
are
Kings
smarter
do.
than the Rockets.
That's what the Kings do. They just figure it out. They've always been.
No, they might not figure it out, but they're going to
That's
try.
a good plan for them. That's perfect for the Kings.
We'll
Yeah,
just
we'll
sort
just
it. We'll
figure it
just
out.
sort it out later.
Yeah. We'll just just classic Kings. Kings being.
I'll
Kings.
tell you this. If Ivy does slip by them to Detroit, it's back on with the Pistons.
Oh, it's on. Anyway, we're gonna wrap. We're gonna
Wait,
wrap it
real
after this
quick,
because
before we wrap-
Jaden Ivey's the
before we-
last guy I know in this draft.
Before we wrap, what's all the Beal talk? We didn't mention Beal. Did you guys talk about him on a previous show? Probably?
Yeah,
What
a little
was-
bit.
Yeah. I was
I
going to
know,
say,
like,
was
the
there anything
odds
new
are
today?
coming up. No, but I didn't.
Keegan Murray.
Oh,
Keegan Murray.
Man.
Sort it out
Kings.
later. Sort it out later, Bobby.
Just they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out. They always do.
No. They did the Kings thing. Oh,
what is it you don't like about Keegan
Bobby, you're
Murray?
gonna have to fill us in on the joke.
Yeah, what is it you
How
don't like
did
about Keegan Murray?
There's nothing I don't like about him, but he's not
Outrageous hair. Right
Jaden
now,
Ivey. I can't
You just said
believe they
Jaden
did
Ivey's
that.
like a hit or miss pick.
No, he's a great pick. He
Ivey.
could be the best player in this draft, and he just slipped to 5. And Detroit's gonna get him. That's unreal. Wow.
We have
Yeah,
to stay.
I
we
mean,
have to
it's
stay
not
on
like
until
Keegan.
that
It's not like
day.
Keegan Murray was somebody who's thought of being outside the top 6 or 7. You know, he's kind of in that range.
No, but didn't we talk about how this is a 4-person draft, a 4-player draft?
You did. Jimmy and I just
I think
kind of
everybody
nodded.
has.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it sounds about right. Checks out.
If anyone said Keegan Murray was going to sneak into the top 4, I think there would have been a lot of surprise. More of a 3-and-D guy.
Especially for me.
Again, probably like a lower tier version of Jabari Smith. Like you're looking at maybe like a Harrison Barnes here.
The biggest winner tonight is Jaden Ivey for dodging the Kings.
Yeah,
Unreal.
dude, he should kiss
Did
the
he
ground.
do that himself? Did he not talk to them? Did he kind of give them
Pistons,
cold feet?
according to Jake Fisher, Pistons exploring opportunities to trade down from 5 because there's a lot of interest in Ivy. So a lot of people
I
are.
wonder if the Celtics like Ivy.
Oh, Grant for
Ooh.
Ivy?
Maybe toss in. Would you do Grant and Pritchard, Bobby?
Yeah, I would. I understand shopping it. I do not think the Pistons are going to pass on this chance to pair Ivy with Cade, with Bay, with Storm.
Yeah, they got a nice
This
young
team's going to be
squad.
awesome. Oh, they're going to be fantastic. I'm an even bigger fan of them now. They showed up at these finals. Maybe they'll be there next year playing against the Celtics. Who knows?
Let's wait for this pick to see if it actually happens. I want to see if your brain explodes if they don't take them or if they trade it.
James Edwards of the Athletic, who's a good friend of Dome Theory in the network here, saying that they're eyeing Jaden Ivey 5th. So looks like he's gonna go there.
It's Ivy.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
It's been tipped.
What a
Oh, yeah.
steal.
Woj has it.
The Pistons. They're back. Sherrod's gonna want to go back and cover them. They're gonna be amazing before long.
They're interesting, particularly if they're in on Ayton as well, which has been talked about. Detroit becomes a super interesting team here. So I am
created
curious.
upwards of $40 million in cap space with that Jeremy Grant deal earlier in the week. They are going to be able to sign Ayton outright. Now, you can go back and forth about whether he's the right guy. Maybe you go after Miles Bridges and really push the Hornets if they're unable to trade Gordon Hayward. He might be more of a modern big 4 or 5 type who you feel better about in a versatile physical system that plays a little bit more small and versatile like the Pistons do here. He might be the better option than Ayton because I think more and more people are starting to sour about Ayton, not just his game and his production, but sort of just his work ethic and things like that, especially
Also,
after
again,
a $30 million deal.
It's funny because for a little while it looked like it was like the year of the big, kind of making a big comeback. And then, by the end of the postseason, you're kind of like, I don't know about traditional centers, man. I just throw in the bank at one of these guys and having them be your max guy, unless his name is Joel Embiid. I just don't know what it does for you. I think your money is. It's not that Ayton isn't really good. Your just money is probably better spent elsewhere, and that's a problem. So it is interesting what's going to happen with that one. Bobby, I'll let you talk a little bit here. Let's say before we wrap, if the Celtics do sneak into the first round, because if we do come back here, whatever. You gave us some names here. Go over some of these guys you think the Celtics might target if they were to sneak into the first round here.
So the big one's Terry Eason, who, LSU, you look at the mocks, he's going like 17 to 20. In fact, almost all of the mocks of the great draft evaluators out there are saying 17 to Houston. I've never really seen like such broad consensus about where a guy's going in the middle of a
It's
draft
amazing.
like
They're
that.
like, he won't get past Houston, but if he does, he could slide into the 20s, like Houston might even get him with their 26 pick, so like, it's so bizarre. They're like certain it's Houston at 17 or else he's going to slide.
Yeah. So this guy's like a 6'8" center who can drive and handle a little bit and defend every position. There's some Kawhi comparisons floating around on him just because of his physique. It's about the same as Kawhi, the huge hands, the 7'2" wingspan, the 9-foot standing reach. He's 6'8", 220, 21 years old, and he's just a monster defensively. Every position he's swallowing guys up. He's blocking shots on the 3-point line. He's just grabbing the ball and running out in transition. SEC, I've never been crazy about the competition down there, but the film just explodes motor-wise, defense, all his tools on that end are just through the roof. Offense, not great. He does get out in transition, draws a lot of free throws, drives downhill very aggressively. But this is a guy defensively in the mold of a Kawhi. Don't know if the offense was there. You still look back on Kawhi's transformation offensively, and you're like, this is a miracle that Kawhi became, like one of the best offensive players in the league. That's not going to happen here. But you talk about a team that wants to switch, wants to be versatile, wants a guy that can defend every position. You see why he's a bit of a dream here. This is a guy who could play center for you in crunch time, potentially down the line. Defend point guards too, and everything in between. So don't know you'll be able to get up to that range, but that's who the Athletic, Zach Harper, report that the Celtics really have their eye on. I think there's been other reports as well that they'd love to get him. Doesn't seem like they're going to be able to, though. That's kind of your dream pick right here. Now, Justin Lewis, who I had number 2 there, sort of a poor man's version of him. See him in the 40s, the 30s. Great length as well. Another guy who is a little bit limited on the offensive end, but can guard just about every position defensively. Did actually shoot better than Eason did last year. A much better looking stroke. He's got the same size just about, height and lengthwise. He can do some catch and shoot stuff. He can defend across the board and, give you rebounding and give you just about everything on the wing that you would need to pair with the Jays. So this is sort of the more affordable version of Eason that you would look at and say, all right, Justin Lewis can step in and give us some wing minutes here. 35% from 3, not the worst number in the world. His athleticism, much lower than Eason's, which is why you see the gap between a guy going 17th and a guy going potentially 40.
All right, and rip through these last couple of guys here.
Bronzer Neesmith, explosive athlete. You see him flying around like Neesmith does. No, not in that way, but like the Neesmith replacement.
Next, tell me about Chandler.
Yeah, what else you got? He's the next Pritchard.
Chandler's
your next Pritchard. You're right. You hit it on the head, Jimmy. Yeah, shooting, catch and shoot guard, can play on and off the ball. Great creator though. That's some difference between him and Pritchard. He could really run point for you on the bench.
And Coloco's your next cornet. Yep, go get him.
And you're right about that.
7 feet tall, kind of gangly. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually can't argue with that. Yeah.
Bobby's already interviewed him 3 times.
So you get your pick, guys. Pritchard, Neesmith, or Cornette. You can get those guys.
This is Christian Braun would be really exciting to get. Great shooter, super dynamic, can dunk, gets into the lane and scores at the basket. He'd be a nice complementary piece for the Jays. 6'7" too, so good size on the wing.
This draft might rival the Patriots draft in terms of how boring it might be for the local fans. Just waiting, and then
some people might not even be tuned in. Some people might forget this is going on in Boston.
Oh,
we're always here.
Watch this? You think I'm gonna watch this whole freaking draft?
I am. Sadly,
I love the draft.
I have to make something to eat. I think maybe I'll
maybe a little HelloFresh action.
Speaking of, yes, I was gonna say maybe.
Check it out, guys. This one's a freebie, HelloFresh. This isn't your week, but I'm going to give you guys a little plug here because I got another box coming tomorrow.
Joe Sway was hawking some over there. I saw he got a box coming to him.
HelloFresh.com, playoff 16. Yeah,
we need to change that, I think. But anyways, for now it's playoff 16.
We didn't get into it, but anyway, check it out if you want farm fresh ingredients. Restaurant quality meals delivered to your door. All you got to do is cook them up. You don't have to shop. You don't have to do anything else. It is good stuff. Also, we want to tell you about our sponsor, Calm, #1 health and wellness app out there. You're a little nervous about trying meditation. Trust me, get into this. It's a terrific deal. Calm.com/garden, 40% off, premium subscription. Get your mind right, get your body right. Unwind, end of the night, curated music tracks, sleep stories. Jimmy's got it on his phone right here. Show everybody what you got.
Oh, yeah, dude, I got it. And here's the thing. You can't be nervous about meditation. That defeats the whole purpose of it. You got to just give it a shot. Look at you. Can you hear this? Can you guys hear this? Oh, my God. I feel like I am just camping under the stars right now.
I feel like $100. Yeah.
At least $100. At least. Oh man, everyone just inhale.
Yeah.
Bobby, let me see you inhale. You know, inhale. There you go. There's a guy who is not
good.
used enough calm. You can just tell by that breath. But
Anyway,
we'll get
so
there.
that's what we got. Check out your calm, guys. And go get some again. Super important.
Yeah,
You
get
go to
some
this
calm.
URL, calm.com/garden, and get your 40% off. Terrific deal. Well worth it. Everybody needs to chill out a little bit. We had a long season.
Time.
We could really use a little bit of R&R during the off season, get ramped up for next year. And see what's what. Look at this. I love this endorsement. Calm is worth it. Thank you very much.
It is. A lot of people use it. So go get the
really
premium version.
I need some more sleep stories. I think I'm fresh out. I need
Yeah.
a couple more sleep stories. But other than that, I mean, no qualms about it.
Yeah.
It's a great.
It's no
great
qualms about it.
No qualms about it.
Anyway, just to let you guys know what we're gonna do. We
Toss
are
it
gonna
on in the car. Doze off. Just kidding. Don't do that.
wanted to see. Do we have another pick before we take off?
Benedict Mathurin to the Pacers. Jimmy's favorite
Mathurin.
team.
Let's go, my Pacers. Speaking of Brogdon, maybe on the move, maybe a match there. That's the type of player that you could potentially get.
Celtics fans love that scenario. Everyone who
I've
hasn't
been pushing Brogdon for like 3 years. Brad Stevens, big Brogdon fan.
Brogdon and Rob can arm wrestle for which one of them is going to play 55 games next year.
Brogdon's one of the best free throw shooters in the league, though. You would never have to worry about missing a free throw.
I can't believe the Pistons got Ivy.
Yeah, you should write about it. You should write about it.
So we'll pop back in. If the Celtics make a trade or there's any news that's worth talking about, we'll jump up there. Amit's feeding me some stuff here. Knicks are still in pursuit of acquiring Ivy even after they selected him. So they're still trying to trade for Ivy. They just couldn't get it done in time. So we'll see. This could be one of those switcheroos after the fact. I wonder what that would do for them. But in terms of their pursuit of other players here that they've been rumored and linked to, I don't know if the Kyrie pursuit goes off the board. I'm not really sure, but all right, we'll see what happens. Anyway, if there's a trade, if anything is happening, if we suspect anything is happening, or if there's a major like NBA shaking story, like a Kyrie trade or something like that, we'll pop back on there. We'll have to wake up Jimmy and tell him what he missed, but he'll be good.
You may not get me,
Jimmy. You're not obligated, but at least Bobby and I will be back. I promise.
It depends. It depends on if we're talking midnight here. We're gonna we'll see.
And then what's gonna happen is maybe 2, 3, 4 picks. If the Celtics hold at 53, 2, 3, 4 picks before they're about to go, we'll jump back up there and we'll roll right through that Celtics pick and we'll analyze it live on the fly. Then we're gonna probably wrap it up so we can go listen to Brad talk after the draft, and that'll be that for tonight. But again, this is just tonight's coverage. Should there be any other news in the coming days, and we expect, there could be some movement and free agency is about to begin soon as well, we'll be ready to go and we'll be ready to rock it with that stuff as well. So make sure you keep it with us here on the Garden Report for all of this stuff.
Subscribe, get the alerts.
Our subscribers have gone through the roof, obviously, since the finals, but honestly, we're not anywhere close to our goals. So again, subscribe if you haven't already. Tell some friends, and we want to hang out with you guys throughout the summer and through the off season, heading into what should be a really fun year next year. So check it out, Bobby. You had something on your mind before we go?
Yes, we didn't do second round picks since that's where the Celtics
we're not. We're gonna do that when we're gonna do that when we pop back in.
But if people want to go check it out, it's up on All Access. All our second round big board. It's
check that out. Check out the big board. We'll see who's left when Bobby pops back on. Here's a quick sneak peek of it. These guys.
David Roddy.
Everyone loves them some David.
Oh my God,
Roddy.
they're gonna draft it. Are they gonna draft a chick? Gabrielle?
Easy, buddy.
Well, I'm just reading
Italy.
Italian.
It's a little different over there.
All right. Hey, maybe they do draft a girl.
They roll a little different over there, Jimmy.
Gabriel? Is it Gabriel then?
I don't know. I'm not Italian.
Well, Bobby, you picked him. You must know his name. That's a requirement.
That brings me back to Moses Moody a couple years ago with Ferrick. Well, probably my favorite draft moment ever. Modi
Yeah,
Modi
you
Moosey.
couldn't say
Moosey
it.
Modi. Then finally the
couldn't
host
say
is like, Moses Moody.
Modi Moosey.
Oh man.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. But we
I will be
be
on
back.
YouTube immediately when they make their pick for a second round pick. I will be breaking down this player.
Oh, I can't wait to see the aspirations of what that player is going to accomplish right away.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks guys for hanging out. We'll see you guys later on tonight. Until then, enjoy the rest of the draft. We'll